Hello, everyone. This is Andrew. Welcome to Atomo Sunday Shenanigans, but actually on Monday. So tonight we had some friends that I haven't seen in a long time, so I pulled out one of my 2008 nice Canadian Bordeaux style wines. We can actually do that kind of stuff here in Canada. Amazingly enough, we can do that kind of stuff here in Canada. So what I wanted to get into, let's take a look at what we got and share sound, share. Okay, so the first thing we got going on here is here's a little letter. This is this is kind of funny. This is Nancy Pelosi, Speaker of the House. Speaker in the House made an invite to His Excellency. Whoa, this is awesome. His Excellency Volodymyr Zelensky. I guess they installed him, so of course, uh, it's an invite to bring him over and to have a conversation or give an address at the joint meeting of Congress on Wednesday, December 21st, 2022. America and the world are in awe of the heroism of the Ukrainian people in the face of Putin's horrific atrocities. Ukrainian freedom fighters have inspired the world with an iron will and unbreakable spirit, fighting against Russia's brutal, unjustified invasion. Ooh, unjustified invasion. Now, okay, not Putin chilling here or saying or going rah rah Russia or anything, but we gotta put stuff into its place here. Okay. Well, let me see if I can pull up. I didn't quite find that before jumping in here. Angela Merkel. If you don't mind me throwing you down for a moment, I have to jump into another keyboard over here. Uh, Angela Merkel. Remarks on Russia. So there is one where okay, hi again. There's one where she said, let's see if this has. Now that's the breaking silence. There's one, oh, Merkel reveals West duplicity. Merkel defending Russia legacy. There is one, okay, I don't have my receipt here, but you can definitely find just so I go. Okay. Basically what she said, and you can go and search this one up, is that, and I'm gonna make sure I get the paraphrasing properly here. In a way, it said, okay, so Minsk agreements, and not a lot of people heard about the Minsk agreements. It's basically kind of a non-aggression ceasefire, recognizing that the Donbass and Luhansk regions in Ukraine are special regions, and we're not going to do any shenanigans to disrupt those special regions. We're going to consider them as special regions, and this was signed off by Germany. And then Angela Merkel, maybe a couple weeks ago, this is December 26th right now, Angela Merkel says, well, the reason we did Minsk was to give us some time to arm Ukraine. Essentially, arm Ukraine for the essential. We're just going to go into the Donbass and Luhansk area and by force, heck, you can borrow some of Justin Trudeau's horses and go in there and just curb stomp the people and saying, "Oh no, you got the wrong ideas. You're part of us." So really, the moment that she said that, you got something called a casus belli, which is a cause for war. Like up until that time, we could have said, yeah, Putin's aggression was this was uncalled for. You don't invade another sovereign country. And then now we have to, with everything that's been revealed, debate whether was Ukraine really sovereign country? Are they their own entity? Because right now they're being even their government's being funded by all these packages that are coming from the United States and the collective West. These groups have to put a lot of money into these things going on. So that was that one. And what I wanted to do here is show a couple of clips. If I bring this up again, let's pull some of these, and share sound is on. So let's look a little bit at what Pooty-Poot wants to say here. Sure, I got him turned down. So we know there's no such thing. Let me rewind that. It's getting a little far ahead of me. Okay, so just if you're just listening to this, and because he is definitely speaking Russian, of course, I will read the subtitles here. We know that there are no such thing as minor details on the battlefield. Therefore, special attention needs to be given, and I know the Ministry of Defense is working on this, but I want to emphasize it once again. All items, including medical kits, food, dry rations, uniform, footwear, helmets, body armor, everything should be up to date at the most highest level. Okay. He continues. Troops must be provided with enough night vision devices, high quality sights, and new generation sniper rifles. I'll not list everything here, but I want to make this main point. Everything that a soldier requires must be cutting edge, comfortable, reliable, and the supply should correspond to the actual needs. If some ministry standards have become outdated, they need to be updated and quickly. I'd like to draw the attention to the defense minister, the general chiefs of staff, and all commanders here. We have no funding restrictions. Okay, look at that. Look at that. Don't let this little piece get away. He's basically saying we're going for it. So this is serious stuff. He's giving you no funding restrictions to get the equipment up to date. Now, is this going to bankrupt Russia? Not in the least. Not in the least. Continuing on. Our country, the government is providing everything the army asked for. Everything. I hope your response will be promptly formulated and the appropriate results will be achieved. Okay. So there's the first one there. He's basically saying, you know what, game on. I'm gonna close that one out. Let's go to another one here. Let me just pause it before we get going. I think he's going to talk about. Hang on, we'll run this. The main goal for the defense industry enterprises is to provide our units on the front line with everything they need: weapon, equipment, ammunition, and gear. He continues, these things must be of proper quality and provided in the required quantity in a short period of time. So they're going to have to, additionally, we must improve and substantially upgrade the performance of weapons and equipment based on gained combat experience. So some of the things that they've been learning from their combat experience now, they're going to be able to integrate that into their, well, they put this request out, and then when they start to manufacture this stuff, and they got China on their side. China can really pump this stuff out pretty quick with, the amount of tchotchkes and stuff that they're sending out here in the West. Okay, continuing on. Let me hit play. The main goal for, okay, so I think, did I get all that? Okay, got that one. Good, good. Let's jump out there. Jump into the next one. I don't think it's screen sharing. appropriate here. Let me just double check my screen sharing settings. Yeah, getting all new share. Guess it looks like it's sharing, and then well, I'm futzing around a bit here, trying to do this stuff. Looks like when I share it, it's not pulling the videos as it comes up. Okay, well, I'll just read it out. The policy of our geopolitical opponents is aimed at dismantling historical Russia, is at the root of everything that's happening in Ukraine. Divide and rule, that's what they always attempted to do, and they are attempting it now as well. Our goal is to reunify the Russian people. Okay, there is another, I know you can't see this, so I apologize for that. At some point, I'm going to get this all figured out. So his goal is to reunify the Russian people. The Russians, at least for Putin, considers the Ukrainian people a part of Russia. And of course, there's going to be Ukrainians that are like, absolutely no way, want to go our own way. Thank you very much. But you have to think about the seriousness of the statements that he's making. Is he bluffing? Have we seen Putin bluff yet? I've watched Putin over since he came into power, and for the most part, when he gets onto the geopolitical stage, he doesn't quite tell porkies the way that Western. Well, I just told you about Angela Merkel getting the Minsk too and creating that as a massive porky. Porky is just a way of saying telling a lie. I will go on to another one here. As far as our capabilities and ammunition reserves are concerned, we are depleting them. That's obvious. This is Putin again. I won't say how many shells we're using a day. The figures are high. But the difference between us and Ukraine is that the Ukrainian military industrial complex is rapidly falling apart, while they basically de-energized the whole thing through some of the missile attacks. So that's one way of shutting it down. Putin continues here. Soon there'll be nothing left of their manufacturing capabilities, whereas ours will keep going. Unlike Ukraine, we have been developing our industry, including the defense sector, over the past decades. We have been developing our military science and technology. Very true with some of their missile systems. We know we are lacking in some aspects like loitering munitions, drones, and so on, but we've been working on that, like phone a friend called up Iran. We know which enterprises can produce them, how many and how soon. We have the funds to finance and research and technology centers as well as the manufacturing itself. We have all of that. So that's Putin going on the fact that he can, let's turn that off, the fact he can really ramp this stuff up quite quickly, and that's something that will remain to be seen on how that unfolds. The other bit of disgrace here is this one here. Yeah, this is quite upsetting to see this guy walking with a tri-folded flag, especially when I have family who've been in the Canadian military. Basically they showed Zelensky and they unfurled a Ukrainian flag in the middle of the US Congress. You basically unfurled another country's flag in the Congress. And then we have this January 6th thing where we're saying, oh, these people came in, they're going to overthrow our government. And yet here they are unfurling a flag of a different country. You can search that one where they unfurl it and they had all the signatures on it. And then he's walking out with a tri-folded flag. And he's not even wearing a suit and tie. He's not even showing up with a nice blazer. That just shows the disrespect to the institution. Whatever you might say or care or don't care about politicians, whether you like them or hate them, there's still a level of civility and decorum when we do these things. And wearing a suit and tie is a respectful thing to do. Yeah, here he is, and it's just walking out with that tri-folded flag. It just blows my mind. Like, it just whoever's in the USA, you see that's happening. This is why the founding fathers said no foreign entanglements. The moment you start going down this path, it's a slippery slope. It's very hard to get back. It's hard to get back into back on like your country, what your country is standing for, your values and your principles that you should appropriate live by. And like, okay, here's something else that I'll pull up for you. Let's push a little pause on that. And I will share. Where did that one go? Okay, some of these, I guess the video ones are not showing up properly here. So I guess I'll have to skip that and maybe go to let's share my tabs. Okay. So on the Zelensky thing, and look at this. So here's one thing that I was doing when I was watching this is while I was watching, I'm like, okay, well, how many people are actually going to sit down? Because usually when you watch like a State of the Union address and it's a Republican president, well, then all the Democrats will be sitting doing like nothing in their chair. If it's the other way around, then the Republicans will be sitting there while the Democrats are standing up, clapping like seal, at the end of every paragraph. And then on this one, you have Lauren Boebert and Matt Gaetz refuse to stand or applaud Ukraine President Volodymyr Zelensky during his address to Congress. The wartime president received a standing ovation from the members of Congress after concluding a speech on the crisis in Ukraine. So of the billions of dollars, how many are going to the lizard people within Congress? They're sending billions and billions of dollars, and how much of that's getting fed back into these politicians? Unless somebody's going to run an audit on this stuff, where is this money going? You looked at the scam bankster fraud, or Sam Banksman. I can't even get his name right because Sam Bankman-Fried of the FTX, and the amount of money that they were able to pull through alleged money laundering. Again, no financial advice here, no legal advice here. Definitely we'll have to see what happens when that goes to trial and see how much of this, when this money goes over to these other countries through the spending, we just haven't seen an accounting of that. So that be that. Let's jump over for a moment to other shenanigans going on. Wonder how many people remember. Well, this is another one. Doesn't have the picture up. That's no problem. But Prince Andrew has been kicked out of the Buckingham Palace. Remember, Kitty Diddler diddling them kids, Epstein Island. I like how this article writes. So basically, he's not a working royal anymore. Same as Prince Harry. Prince Harry is no longer a working royal. I don't know how far this goes, but basically, he's no longer doing whatever working royals do. Okay, I don't know what they do exactly behind closed doors. Nobody sends me any information about that. I just have to read these articles as well. So comes after Andrew paid a $12 million settlement in the U.S. civil sex assault case. All right. Andrew strenuously denied any allegation of sexual assault. Says he doesn't even remember meeting the person who was accusing him. So, well, why didn't you go to trial then? Eh? Probably going to trial might have saved you. How much would it cost to go to trial? I don't know, not 12 million, perhaps. But I guess there's stuff you didn't want to go to discovery. Wonder how many bad photos would come out of that one. Wonder what kind of blackmail stuff they had on him. I don't really understand what his portfolio was exactly when it was happening. But there we go. At least King Charles is maybe doing something right, though my skepticism's still quite high. I think he's still a Davos lizard creature. Or yeah. And then here's another Davos lizard creature, just so we can keep with a theme, is when Sunak, the Prime Minister of the UK, was handing out meals at a shelter. He asked somebody about, "Oh, do you work in business?" Like, oh my god! Oh, this Prime Minister. I've been watching some of his stuff, and whoo, he. I mean, he's not as old as Biden. Like he's maybe. I'm watching. He's like, I don't know. Is he a full Fetterman or is he a half Fetterman? Like some of the stuff that he says, like he's just coming across as unsophisticated and just out to lunch. So I think this is what happens when you put a sock puppet into play. And I was quite skeptical of Liz Truss, but wow, and I knew because this guy here was about 10 times worse. And it's just basically setting up for potentially the Labor Party coming into power in the next election. And the Labor Party it's like Trudeau and the Liberals here in Canada. It's an absolute joke. It'll be absolute fiasco for the UK. So that one's sinking, especially if they stop the Brexit. I mean, that ship is holed and taken on water. Goodbye, UK. You're gonna slip under the sea at this rate. God, come on, people, wake up to what's going on. I know if you're watching this. So he's asking you in here. It's even talking about, well, he then discussed his background in finance industry. He's asked to be something a man would like to get into. Ooh, well, I'm not disparaging the person that he's talking to, not in any means. The person here is like just based response. Oh, I wouldn't mind, but I don't know. I'd like to get through Christmas first. Yeah, like exactly. Try to take care of whoever you have that you need to take care of, even if you are at the bread line or in the soup kitchen, trying to do what you need to do, especially at this government just pounding these people down into paste and it just clearly out to lunch. This is idiocracy. So yeah, on one side there's a tri-folded flag being walked out just by a comedian, and it's just yeah, shenanigans is correct. I'm even at a loss for words on this. Well, why don't we just dig it a little bit deeper here? Let's move over to Canada. So changing gears again. Well, what shenanigans are going on now? Well, the medical assisted in dying activity book, of course, for your kids in case somebody might be needing medically assisted dying. Basically, it's a type of suicide. Uh, and the kids' book, and here it is, lo and behold. Uh, I was reading through it and I can see, so I have to give, before I completely pan and trash what's going on here. And this is not medical advice whatsoever. I'm just putting this stuff up because it's out there, it's available. Do with it as you might. Just take this for entertainment purposes. What has happened is the government of Canada has actually funded this in a part with the virtual hospice. So, excuse me, nothing against, nothing against if a group wants to put this out and saying, yeah, if you have like grandma or grandpa and they're going to pass away, you know, there's time I had this happen to me, and we knew when the time was coming, and we were able to get by the bedside and get the last rites and all that. But and I get that there's a necessity for this, but here's where I want to pause. I'm going to turn this off so I don't have to have you keep looking at it. I will put a link in for those that are interested in this stuff. Slippery slopes. Given it's wintertime here in Canada, what's the slippery slope here? That once we get into this, the medical assisted in dying, and it starts to get on to an uptake, then there's going to be things like, you know what, woe is me, especially what's coming up now with a potential depression, is woe is me. You know what, I got to go bankrupt. I don't want to live like this. Everything I worked for is gone. Well, you just do away with me. I'm just going to sit and basically do nothing and become a useless eater. And it's possible now, and I think it's possible, though, even though it says in the documents that you can't have this, but it's possible you say, yeah, I want this. It even talks, murmurs that uh, minors could get it, especially like for mental illnesses. And this is where the gamut really goes off. Okay, well, what type of mental illnesses? How do we know? How do we vet for those mental illnesses? And given that, there's even with our bill, we had a bill C4 here in Canada, and what that was is that if somebody just say was transgender, you can't convert them back. It's conversion therapy is bad. Again, no medical advice here. But it doesn't talk about the grooming or doing things that can potentially put a person into wanting to go down that path in the first place, or having a conversation. This is where it gets, if somebody just say has gender dysphoria and they want to have a conversation, though, this is where it gets a bit dicey. Is you'd want to have a medical practitioner talk you through and just make sure that, okay, before we go along that path, have we ruled out everything else? Perhaps you just might be gay or lesbian. That's fine. No problem with that. But before you go and start to change your bodies in ways that we don't quite understand, have the appropriate conversations. Because with the data that's showing is it's looking like females, girls who are going through puberty, moving into adulthood, are more susceptible to getting into wanting to change, especially if they have a strong group and their couple in that group really want to change their identity, and then the rest feel, well, I'm kind of compelled to go with it or I'm going to get kicked out of this group. And status is quite important for young ladies at that age. So we just want to make sure that everybody has a chance to get the appropriate advice that they need. Now, I had something else going on here, so let's go back to the medical assist in dying. And as this keeps moving on, and there's potentially people that want to do this, I'm going to get you some numbers here. So in 6 years, 31,664 people have chosen to receive MAID. This number exceeds the 30,281 deaths caused by the Corona in 2020 and 2021. So now we've gone a little bit, look at all the stuff we were talking about. Hey, don't go out there and kill grandma, but It's okay if grandma wants to come in and ask for us to kill her for you. Just let the government take care of it. So those are some of the shenanigans going on. Leave any comments on anything you want to add. And yeah, hopefully everybody had a great holiday. New Year's is coming up. I'm looking to run yet another one of these. Hopefully I can get it done on New Year's. I don't do much. I just like doing these podcasts. So hopefully you're finding this valuable. I have some fun putting this stuff together and getting it out to you. So hopefully you had a great Christmas. In Canada, we have Boxing Day, and I hope everything's going well and looking forward to a new year, but you're going to have to hold on to something tight. It's going to be a rocky one. So thank you very much and have a good day.